August 3rd, 2026, Town of Franklin Town Council meeting to order. Before we start, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, but I want to read to the council a quote from a local journalist. The quote says, "The Franklin Town Council is the most transparent public board I have ever covered. The councilmen and councilwomen who serve on it are dedicated public servants, as is the town manager. The same goes for the police chief and members of his department, and this also goes for town employees." And I wanted to read that to you because I think every word of it is true. Now, if you'll join Vice Mayor Mike Lewis in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. All right, do I hear a motion for the adoption of the August 3rd, 2026 Town Council agenda?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Do I hear a motion for approval of the consent agenda for August 3rd, 2026?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussions? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. Now we will have some recognition of some of our staff, and we'll start if Mr. Jason Hopkins, our wastewater treatment plant supervisor, would come up.
Brian, come on up. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you for your time. A few months ago, we had an opening. It didn't last long. We finally, Brian, come on up front and center. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
This is Brian. He's our new employee. Like I've said before, it's a difficult field. A little bit of science, a little bit of mechanic, a little bit of getting dirty, a little bit of being smart. So it's a tough position to fill. Brian's doing a good job of it, and we're glad to have him. And now you get to make a speech.
Brian, we've given you 10 minutes on the agenda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. All right, Joe.
I think I'm up again.
You are up again.
Okay. Mr. Jake Slagle can't be with us today. He's at Maintenance 1, broadening his understanding of our job. Also, like I said, it's a little bit of everything. So today I'm recognizing him for his Lab 2. It's a very difficult certification to get. There is no dedicated class. Pretty much every other certificate has a week-long class. They teach you how to pass the test. The lab does not, so it's up to you to get your study materials, learn it, and hands-on learning in the lab to be able to get that. So that's a very impressive one, and I hate that he's not here to get the recognition he deserves for that one. So he's up there with Bill Allen now as the only 2 Lab 2s in Macon County, I believe. So good job, Jake, if he is listening somewhere.
Now, Mr. Kyle Bouquet, Water Treatment Plant Supervisor.
Sorry.
We have one new operator, Jeff Schuler, who is currently working one of his first solo shifts, so that's why he's not here tonight. Jeff's been with us almost a year now. He came to us from the streets department looking for a change. He came on board with us, took the time to actually learn how our plant operated, and also took the time to learn the study material to pass the exam. I'm happy for him and glad that he's with us. This next person, he really does not like recognition whatsoever. He is definitely one of the most valuable people that I think we have out there at the plant. He's been with us almost 9 years. He's finally took a vacation for the first time in at least 4 years. But Pedro Ruiz, he recently went and got his Maintenance 1 certificate and passed his exam. He comes from a maintenance background. Anything that we do at the plant, maintenance-wise, he's involved in it. He's a phenomenal worker. I enjoy working with Pedro every day.
Great, congratulations. And if Pedro were here, he would appreciate this introduction of our Public Works Director, El Gringo Loco.
No. What a day is that, people? I probably won't be able to get through this. You gotta watch what you tell the mayor. Mayor, town council, we're here tonight to recognize Kyle wherever he went. Come on up. He also obtained his Maintenance 1 certification. So there's not a lot that this guy can't do out at the water plant. He's very knowledgeable as far as working on any kind of our hawk meters, turbidity meters. He calibrates those, he sets those up. He's also got the plant back into a maintenance schedule. So very proud of Kyle for obtaining this, and he does a great job out there. So really do give Kyle a hand clap here. So our next certification that's coming up is Mr. Chris Waldron. And this one here is takes a lot of time and dedication to obtain this mesh certification. It takes 100 hours just to be able to sit for the exam. So I'm going to read a little bit about this. It's workplace safety, health, and environmental management. Issues are tremendous responsibility. And if you come around any of our job sites, we have a lot of things that we have to keep in line, our OSHA logbooks, our safety data sheets, and all these things that we have to kind of keep up with, and all these things are changing all the time. So I'm very fortunate to have Chris, who's had OSHA 10 as part of this program too, to be able to help us with that and keep us in compliance. It says many managers and supervisors are not fully aware of nor prepared to meet the day-to-day safety and environmental responsibilities. Yet every business and industry must comply with the multitude of government regulations or face expensive fines and litigation. The Management of Environmental Safety and Health certificate program is designed to recognize individuals who improve their practical knowledge while earning a valuable credential. So with that, I want to present this to Chris Walker. Say cheese. I broke it.
That's not going to really not working.
I broke it.
You scared it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So are you sending somebody out to the water plant tonight to rattle chains and make ghost noises while Jeff's out there by himself?
We should.
Yeah.
I'll be up for that.
All right, our next item on the agenda, under presentations, is a presentation on the quarter-cent sales tax referendum by my former principal, Mr. Gary Shields.
I appreciate that.
If we had more time, I could tell all kinds of stories if they had time.
You can hear it, you can see it, and you can touch it. I've already done the touch part. Now, you're going to see it, and you're going to hear it from Jack and Eric. I've done my part. I put one of these in your hand.
Okay. All right, so our former mayor, Mr. Jack Horton, will present on the quarter-cent sales tax.
You're taking all my thunder. So my name is Eric Haggart. I am also on the quarter of a penny sales tax committee that was formed back in November of 25. And my title is Chaos Coordinator. We've been working on these slides and the presentations now for 7 months. And just want to talk with you folks. Thank you for having us here this evening.
Eric, let me interrupt you. Your name wasn't on here, so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry I didn't introduce you.
No worries. So We're just going to run through this slide. I'm going to ask Mr. Jack to come up and be with me because he'll have some things to interject while we're talking about what's on the slides. Just one note real quickly. We do have a Facebook page that is live. You do not have to have a Facebook account to access it. We will start putting information from our slideshow and our town community meetings that we'll be having throughout the summer on that page. So if you have any questions, but it is known on Facebook as Get to Know the Quarter of a Penny Sales Tax. And it's Macon NC Quarter Penny for the URL. Let's move the slide. Sir?
Thank you, Eric. While he's gearing up, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members and staff for allowing us some time. I know how these meetings go, and I know you don't want to be here all night, so I promised the mayor that we would try to keep it to about 20 minutes if we can. Depends on the questions that we have, but thank you all for allowing us this time. And I'd like to especially thank Gary Shields. Gary has worked very hard to put together a group of volunteers. We have several other volunteers who are on the committee with us that are here tonight. And if you would, if you're on the committee, would you just stand up so people can know who you are? They put in endless hours since last fall, putting together some information. The direction from the Board of County Commissioners is we can't spend any public money to promote this referendum or to discourage this referendum. But what we can do is encourage you to inform and educate the public. And so that's what our committee is all about, trying to let people know what the quarter-cent sales tax referendum is and what benefit it is to the people who live here and pay it and those people who pass through and pay it. So this is our sort of our maiden voice, so we're using you guys as a guinea pig a little way. So if I get too far ahead of myself, Mayor, just tell me to sit down and I will. I don't mind doing that. But I think it's good to understand the sales tax situation. The first sales tax that was allowed by local governments and counties happened in North Carolina in 1969. In 1969, the General Assembly says, why don't we allow some of these counties to collect some sales tax too? So they gave the counties the authority to enact a 1-cent sales tax in 1969. Then in 1983, several years later, the General Assembly said, well, we probably need to amend that. And so they allowed the counties to enact a 1/2-cent sales tax in 1983. Then 3 years later, in 1986, they did the same thing. At that time, all that was necessary for the county to enact additional sales tax was to pass a resolution of the county commissioners and send it to Raleigh. Now, in 2007 or 9?
Yes, sir.
2007, the General Assembly came up with another proposal to allow counties to have an additional 1/4 of 1-cent sales tax increase with a provision that it had to be passed by a majority of the voters in that county. And so all the counties, and then we'll get to this in the slides, all the counties in our area have had referendums. Some of them have passed on the first ballot. Jackson County and Haywood County passed on the first ballot. The other counties, Swain, Graham, Clay, Cherokee, they had on the ballot 3 times before it was passed. It's been passed in all of them. Every county in our district has passed a 1/4-cent sales tax with the exception of Macon County. And so what we think we need to do is let people know what it is, what impact it's going to have on you, and what it means to people. I was thinking about this and I said, how am I going to explain what a 1/4-cent sales tax is? Because people don't spend percentages, they spend money, right? Well, basically what a 1/4-cent sales tax is, for every $4 you spend, it costs you another penny. For $4, it costs you 1 penny. I don't think that's an overdue burden for most of us, and we hope that the people in the county will understand that as well. So don't get confused by percentages. I think a lot of people thought last time it was on the ballot, that was going to go up by 25%. It's 1 penny for $4. You can take it on out as far as you want to. So that's the simple way for me to explain that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Eric, and we'll go through the slides, and I may jump in from time to time to try to explain things from my perspective, having worked with the county for a number of years and also with the town for a number of years. I kind of understand it from both the municipal and the county level, and I think we need to, and this town board has a reputation, like the mayor said earlier, of being transparent, open, and honest with the people, and we want people to know just what the facts are concerning this referendum that's coming up on November the 3rd. So Eric, if you'll take us through the slides.
Thank you, sir. So, as we all know, there are mainly two ways that government is funded. One is with property taxes, and the other is sales taxes. Homeowners, property owners, we all pay those sales taxes, or those taxes, excuse me. But sales taxes are paid by us when we shop here, but also visitors when they come through our area.
I would say when it comes to the county budget this year is just under $70 million. And that's quite a large figure, but if you look where the revenue comes from to fund all the services that the county provides, the majority of the money comes from property taxes for local money. The second largest source of revenue for the county is sales tax. It amounts to about $14,000 a year. So it's very important to maintain that. And of course, property taxes are pretty steady from year to year. Sales taxes go and come with the economy, so you can't always guarantee how much money you're going to get from year to year, but those two sources are what the county depends on to fund their budget.
As Mr. Horton explained earlier, all of the counties that surround us, the 7 western counties, and then Madison and Buncombe County, they're all at 7%, while we're at 6.75%. And just to explain a little more, some of the places that some of us travel to on occasion, Raven County, Georgia, theirs is 8%. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee is 9.75%, as is Gatlinburg, and then Atlanta, Georgia is 8.9%. So how is this going to affect us? How will this affect you if you were to go to the store and buy a new shirt? $35 for that shirt. Today, it costs $37.35. If this increase by 1/4 penny passes, the new price would be $37.44, a whole 9-cent increase. And as you can see on the slide, there's 2 other examples: a dinner for 2, and then a large purchase like a television. What would cost you today $532.68 would cost you $1.25 more. A very small amount that we really won't notice. Okay. So how will this money be used? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, before we get into the details on how this money could be used, it could be used for any approved governmental purpose, and I'm sure you all know that. But to give you an idea, looking at the county budget for this year, like we said, it's just under $70 million, $69,984,066. How the budget this year in the county, they had a lot of one-time needs that need to be covered. Vehicles, ambulances, maintenance, crime prevention, EMS, a lot of different items. As a matter of fact, there was about $3 million worth of items that need to be covered. They had 2 ways to pay that this year. You can raise property taxes, or you can use some of your fund balance, which the county was fortunate to have a adequate fund balance, and so they appropriated $3 million out of their fund balance, out of their savings account, and I'm sure the board knows how important a fund balance is. You need to make sure you have enough money to carry you through times of need, and also to make sure that your fiscal house is in order. And so what happened was, this 1/4 cent sales tax, we've been told, would generate somewhere in excess of $2 million a year. a 1/4 cent sales tax over 2 million. You know how many property tax cents it would take to generate that same amount of money? Take 2 cents, 2 full cents on your property tax. That's on everything you own. Your car, your house, your vacant lot, anything that's taxable in property taxes, it would take at least 2 cents to fund that. So the board elected to use their fund balance, which is okay this time. You can't keep doing that every year, because pretty soon you run out of fund balance. And like the farmer says, you got to be careful not to eat your seed corn, because you're going to run out of money sooner or later, and you're going to be forced to raise taxes, property taxes, which is the most unpopular tax there is. That's why the state gave it to the local governments to do. So I learned that a long time ago, Mayor. But with this, if this referendum passes, the Board of County Commissioners will then have the option to enact it. And it won't affect this year's budget. This year's budget is all said and done. If this referendum were to pass in November and the Board of County Commissioners were to approve a resolution to enact it by the end of December, it would be April before any money started coming into the county from this 1/4 cent sales tax. So it will not affect this year's budget, but it would affect next year's budget starting in 2027. So it's going to keep that in the back of your mind. Eric?
Sure. So as Jack touched on, the money can be allocated to use through law enforcement, our fire departments, emergency medical services, our senior center, animal shelter, and other capital improvements, as well as education. There's a broad range of items that this money can be used for. So what is going to be on the ballot this November? Due to the laws, the election laws, the ballot will read whether you're for or against local sales and use tax at the rate of 1/4%, 0.025%, in addition to all other state and local sales and use taxes. That is that 1/4 of a penny increase. It's not 25%, it's not 5%, it's 0.25, from 6.75% total to 7%.
And the wording on the ballot is dictated by the state. You can't change it. You can't put on there what you're going to spend it for. This is all you can put on the ballot. So as I was talking to someone earlier, if you just have a very simple question, if they were to ask me, do you want to pay more taxes or not? My first answer is not. But when you find out, I've got to have this service, I've got to have ambulances, I've got to have things for senior citizens, I've got to have law enforcement, I've got to have public safety, I've got to have schools, I've got to have all these things. The money has to come from somewhere. So they can't put anything other on the ballot than what the General Assembly says you can put. So that's what you're going to see. The fact of the matter is that's pretty much all people had to go on, I think, the first time or two that it was on a ballot to be voted on. And so they didn't have a lot of background information or facts or figures on what impact that was going to have on them and what benefits going to be. I think another thing to keep in mind is that sales tax is collected from people who spend money in the county, whether you live here or not. If you're passing through and buy something that's taxable, you'll pay the sales tax. If you have a part-time residence here and you're not here all year long, when you're here, you pay the sales tax. When people from other counties come over to Franklin to shop and they buy things that are taxable, sales tax money is collected. So it's not just the property owners in the county who are responsible for it. It's everyone who shops and spends money in the county, whether you live here, passing through, or you're a part-time resident.
We've given everyone who's come in this handout. If you don't have one, see Mr. Shields, please. Has some of the information that we've talked about this evening on it. And then, like I said, if you have any questions or if you'd like to come to one of our community outreach meetings, find us on Facebook and reach out. We'll be putting out our events. Thank you.
So if you have any questions that we can answer this time, we'll be happy to do so, Mayor. And if not, we have contact information where you can call or email or whatever you use to contact us, and we'll try to answer the question. The other thing I think that Eric mentioned is very important is the fact that if you belong to an organization, and we have several of them that are now signed up for us to come and speak to, community development clubs, fire departments, other organizations, community clubs and so forth in the county, and we're going to be making some of those presentations. It won't just be me and Eric, it could be some of our other volunteers, so they won't have to listen to me each time. But we appreciate the opportunity to be here to answer any questions you might have, and if you have any at this time, I'm sure one of us would be glad to try to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How about Rotary?
Rotary,
Still
yeah.
on Rotary?
We're doing the AM Rotary in the morning.
Good.
And when is the new club?
I can't tell you the new.
Not sure.
Yeah.
So come to breakfast tomorrow morning.
State legislators didn't make your job any easier by putting another tax-related issue on the ballot, so y'all are gonna have a hard time getting people to distinguish between those two things.
And I don't know if anybody else got their tax bill in the mail recently, but mine said in big red letters, 2027 revaluation. So that's coming down the pipe also. Thank you.
Y'all did a great job, and the handouts and the printed material is just excellent. And I'd like to make a motion that the town council go on record as supporting this quarter-cent sales tax.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. We'll open it up for discussion.
I'm not sure it's going to call tonight.
You don't think it's appropriate?
I'm not sure I do, but you know, I just want to say.
All right, you're dead.
Let it go on the ballot or in?
No,
For
that
it.
that we're just, I mean, it's going to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
That we as the town council support this effort and support this work.
Just for clarification, the Board of Commissioners, not just in Macon County, but throughout the state, can endorse it. They just can't spend any public funds one way or the other. As a matter of fact, almost half of the counties in the state have already passed it. I think 48 right now. There'll be more than that after November, but 48 out of the 100 counties have already passed this and adopted the quarter-cent sales tax. Board members can express their support for it. You just can't use any public funds to pay for it.
And I wasn't even thinking about passing the hat or asking it.
Rita, do you want to work on a resolution to bring back in September?
Would that be better?
That'd be more proper, I think.
Okay, well, I'll do that. We'll work on a resolution and bring it back.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Eric. Mr. Shields.
Thank you all.
Quarters in, wasn't it?
All right. Our next presentation will be from the Franklin TGA, presenting the strategic plan. Will be Tim Crabtree, the chairman, and is Colin McGinnis.
Colin is out of town.
Okay.
And so I have coerced Mr. Stewart to come up here with me today.
Well, bless your heart.
Just a second and get my computer's not working. And I've got notes on here now. There we go. I'm the driver. All right. The TDA has been working with a subcommittee to create a strategic plan. After some conversations with Mr. Tompa, who came with to a meeting, actually, since we had some recognition tonight, I would like to recognize Mr. Tompa. I've been on the TDA for a long time, and he's one of the first council people to come to our meetings just on his own accord, and that started pretty much right when he came onto the board. So I appreciate you coming to those meetings. So through some conversations with Mayor Guffey and Councilman Tompa, we have created a subcommittee to work on a strategic plan for tourism in the town of Franklin. And so we have a presentation from that subcommittee. Again, Colin couldn't be here tonight, but he has put this presentation together. I'm going to go through that presentation, and I think you all have that in front of you, and then we will answer any questions that we can. So this started, like I said, kind of in December, and we got that subcommittee together with staff from the town, representative from the council, Mr. Tompa. We have Morgan Stewart and some of his team come, and so we're working on a 1, 3, and 5-year plan for tourism in Macon County. I think everybody understands that as some of our bigger industry is leaving town, some of our bigger employers, thus the employees, that tourism is a big driving factor in Franklin. And so we have to work on improving that. And so, as you can see in the presentation, our guiding principles of we want to create and maintain Franklin as a destination that's premier in Western North Carolina and in the Southeast to bring people here. So we want people coming here instead of maybe going into some of the other places, or coming here as well as some of the other places. And our accountability, we've designated the subcommittee, as I've already talked about. Our collaboration, we're going to try and work strategically with the Chamber of Commerce, that is the county's TDC, with Visit Smokies, with the town council, and with the town staff, the Highlands TDA, so that we can bring money together, because our budget isn't huge when we start doing some of these projects, but if we can put that money together with some of these other firms, then we can really do some big projects. And then the external influences, we can work with, like with Raleigh. They have the 5-year plan. After Helene, they really started working on, because they kind of fumbled saying West North Carolina shut down, and then they kind of backtracked and said, all right, well, how can we promote tourism now that Western North Carolina is not shut down? And then some of our towns like us, who were never shut down, kind of suffered through that. So this is how we engage. We've identified 4 areas with funding, optimization, infrastructure, and marketing. The funding, I think everybody understands, because we've talked about this in the past, how our funding works. We have a budget that comes from occupancy tax, the hotels and Airbnbs and anywhere that people stay in the town limits and the ETJ. And so 2/3 of our budget has to be spent on marketing for tourism, so to promote tourism, and that is currently with Mr. Stewart's firm, and they've been doing a great job. Our event optimization, we want to work on a calendar. We have a calendar now through the town and through Experience Franklin, and we want to work on optimizing that calendar to really focus on the events that are happening, so that people understand what's going on. Maybe we can help not have 15 events on one day. Let's spread some of those events out to get, if 4 things are happening all around the county, well, you're splitting up your basis. People get confused, like, what do I want to do today? What's going to be the most fun? And so some events will suffer because there's other events happening in the town. Our infrastructure, I think you understand our tourism dollars can't be spent on things like the wastewater plant, but we could spend some dollars on a public bathroom, parking spots, beautification, murals, things like that really promote tourism in Franklin and make us a really pretty place to be. And then marketing, we are working on how we can improve and make a bigger impact for their marketing. Do you want to touch on marketing at all? Or?
I mean, happy to. Our goal is to use research and analysis. What are people looking for when they're trying to make their decisions about where they want to visit? We want to turn lookers into visitors. And so we integrate our research and analytics, and we want to keep doing that, make sure the systems are right, the algorithms change all the time, so we're just staying on top of that as well. And basically, we're always constantly trying to make sure the impact is bigger and better as we go on through every year, every month, every week. And so that's going to be a continuous operation, a continuous goal for us with this plan.
One thing that we've been working on in our year one plan is to create a new application for event funding so that we know how funds are being spent, that they're being spent appropriately for tourism activities and to bring tourists to town. A big thing of what we do when we fund events with these applications that people come ask for money, it has to be tourism related. So we can't just fund every single event that comes, every fundraiser. If they're bringing tourists, that's what we focus on. And so we're revamping this application, and I think you have a copy of our draft. This is ever changing, but our draft is in front of you. And that draft includes the green event checklist so that we can, try and encourage people to treat our environment better. And then the timing. So we're transitioning from a monthly request process to quarterly. That's our hope. We haven't officially done that yet, but that will allow us to see these applications with more time to discuss them. It also gives the people putting the events together more time with their money. It makes them think about this a little more ahead of time. So a personal example, for instance, if I am doing the Ruby Drop and I request funds in November, well, if this is quarterly, I have to have done this before that last quarter, October. So that gives me a full extra month to really think about my marketing. And so that will encourage, we get a lot of events last minute, if that makes sense. And this will encourage those. It'll also allow us more time in some of our other meetings to do some more of the strategic planning, because we're not spending our whole, if it's a 2-hour meeting, we spend an hour and a half of it just listening to event requests. That will open up some of those meetings that we can do some more strategic planning. And then our estimated impact, of course, our goal is for overnight stays. That's not all inclusive of tourism, but that's where our money comes from. We want people to come here and spend some time. So stay more than 3 hours. Let's stay the night and spend the next day, or maybe stay the weekend, or maybe stay a full week. And then the measurement and reporting, we have always encouraged everyone, and it's in our bylaws, that people come back to us and tell us how they spent the money. And of course they have to do a budget, but with our new application and our new board, we're really focusing on that. How do we measure the tourists that are coming? So we want you to estimate how many tourists you're bringing in. We also want you to do a full budget on how exactly you're spending the money. And then after your event, we want you to come back to us and say, we spent the money how we said we were going to, and we got the tourists we were expecting, or we didn't, or these are some of the zip codes people were coming from. We really want to see how we're measuring those impacts. In our year one plan of our 1, 3, and 5, we touched on the calendar. We really want to work on that event calendar and with the town of Franklin. I don't know if you're going to say something. We want to develop an event support package, and this is going to be working with the town of Franklin. Sabrina does a great job with events, and so we're planning to contact her and try and develop a package where if someone's doing an event, maybe they need a list of all the food trucks that are available for Franklin, or maybe they just need contacts for, hey, how do I get the street closed? I don't know. Well, if they came to us to request money, we can give them this package and say, hey, this is some big topics that will help you out. And it won't be all inclusive because these things are always changing. But that support package will really help people, especially if they're doing a first-time event. We want to collaborate with the event planners, and that's how we've dealt for years with a lot of different events. But as people are developing their own events, we can help support them, and maybe they come to us and they want to do an event on May 3rd, but there's already 7 events happening that day. We can say, well, maybe you want to think about doing it May 10th, the next weekend. There's nothing happening that weekend, and you're probably going to get some more people. And that's not, again, all inclusive, but those are some of the things. And then the last thing is a TDA signature event. We've never sponsored a TDA event where we plan it, we develop it. And so we're working, this subcommittee we've been talking about, trying to put together an event that we sponsor. This is the TDA sanctioned event. And so that's something that is part of our plan that we've been working on. Okay, the infrastructure part, a big part of it is, again, we talked about, we can't do things that aren't tourism related, but some of the things we can do. Big signage, welcome to Franklin. We want it to be really pretty. We want people to know where to be able to go. An example here in your presentation is this mural. This is a brand new mural that was privately done in Franklin, and it's beautiful. And these are the types of murals that, has everybody seen this mural, know where it is? Right downtown. This is a mural that we could do very similar things all around town. And, if a private business has a big wall and they're willing to say, let's do a mural here, these are the types of things that we can help fund. The directional signage, these might be totems where they're just placed down the street that say, parking or dining, or maybe they have specific businesses on it. These are types of signs that will just help our tourists know where they're going and what they're doing, especially as we work through the Main Street Initiative, and I believe, I could be wrong, Amy, but the town or the state is going to be repaving soon, and so we're going to be some parking lots, those kinds of things are going to be changing, and so the directional signage will just help with our tourists and where they go. If they have an easy time when they're in Franklin, they're more likely to stay, have a good time, come back and tell their friends. And then sculptures and artwork. One of the first things that started this subcommittee was we started talking about doing a big sculpture somewhere in the Main Street area. And that is just something, tourists love to see these pretty things. They'll stop at them, they'll take pictures, they put them on Facebook or Instagram, or tell their friends. And so it's not necessarily, people might not come to Franklin to see the sculpture, but while they're here, they're gonna take pictures with it, they're gonna share it, and they're gonna tell everybody else about it.
In the long run, this creates an improved visitor experience. It gives them a deeper appreciation for the town, and while selling or marketing our assets and our wonderful things we have here.
The next thing is marketing, and I'm going to hand a lot of this over to Morgan because he knows this inside and out. This is what he does. But you can see on the presentation the things that we're focusing on. And a big thing that we worked on in 2024, we were Discover Franklin. And we feel now that people have discovered us. They know where we are, they know what we stand for. But now we've changed to Experience Franklin, and we want everyone to know that there's a lot to experience here and in our community, not just in the town, but in our county. So we want people coming downtown, of course, but they're also going to go see our waterfalls, and they're going to go see our hiking trails and our rivers. And so I'm going to hand marketing to Morgan because he knows it better than I could even start.
Got the text 30 minutes ago. Okay, so on the marketing side of things, the collaboration part is really about not only working with different organizations within the county that also market this county to tourists, to visitors. It helps us expand our budget and expand our reach. For instance, when Visit Smokies, which has an incredible reach on their social media sites, when they repost something that we've posted, that gets to tens of thousands of more people. So that kind of collaboration not only works to expand our audience, extends our budget, but it also helps, it just helps reach more people. And when we work collaboratively with each other, Highlands gets an advantage, they're going to get an advantage by working with us, and we're going to work with them. So we're going to benefit from everyone we partner with. The TDC is a great partner when we get the chance to partner with them, so we're very happy to help each other expand our markets and reach more people. That's part of the awareness side. The more we communicate with really we're seeing changes in marketing. It's no longer SEO, now it's AEO. I can't even think anymore. The advanced, what can I think of? AI? So AI is artificial intelligence.
Ask ChatGPT.
I don't have it. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we communicate. It's changing our websites. It's changing our social media. So we have to keep on top of that. That's part of the awareness, is that we're all working together to make sure the terminology and the design of our assets, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's our social media stuff, is in line with what's happening in the world today. Research and analysis awareness, again, that's keeping up with the intelligence tools, making sure we're communicating with the right way and getting as much out of the algorithms as we possibly can. And then the targeted outreach strategy, that's defining who our audience is, who's interested in us, why they're interested in us, and making sure our communications is very laser focused on them, and that they're going to turn from someone who's just going around the website looking for a place to go, they land on Franklin and want to come here.
I have to give it to Morgan. I literally texted him 15 minutes ago and said, hey, you going to help me present this thing? And I was sitting on the back row and he was sitting on the front. So like I said, he can talk about this stuff off the cuff way better than I could even start.
When the brain works.
Yeah. And then the other part of our plan is the 3- and 5-year plan, and this is working on the longer term stuff. The most important part of this slide is the bottom. I think it's important to remember, this plan is intended to be a living document, so we're always changing it. We can't make a plan today for 5 years from now that's set in concrete. We know that things are going to change. Nobody ever would have predicted that COVID was coming. They wouldn't have predicted that Helene was going to hit our area. So obviously 3- and 5-year plans are fluid and they're ever changing. But we want to have our clear performance measures. We want to have progress updates. We want to be working with town council regularly and Amy and her staff, and to work on the event optimization infrastructure and the marketing. And I'll let y'all read through that, and then if you have questions, we can answer them. And that,
I'll chime in. By becoming a more active partner with the events and the people who are trying to promote whatever activities they're doing that brings tourists here, I think we help each other out. There are some people who can put on a terrific event and are not very marketing educated. They don't know the algorithms, they don't know how it works. So the more we can work with them on that front, make sure the imagery is right and the messaging is right, and they can teach us too. The more we're a partner with everybody who's putting on events around town, I think the more impact we'll have, and it'll benefit the town in the long run.
it's important to note, I feel like there's been some questions lately because we're doing these longer term planning that we're going to stop funding events. When people come ask for money from us, we're stopping all of that. We've just been giving money away freely for years, and that's not the case. We've had a board and we've always heard the requests. We've always asked how they're bringing tourism to town. That's where we give our money. It's always been for tourism. This strategy is just to better use our money. Now, how can we bring more tourists to town? So we're still going to spend money on our local events when people request funds. That there is money set aside specifically for those events, and they have to bring tourists, and tourists might be someone coming into town that's just eating lunch, or it might be someone coming into town and they're staying for a month from Europe. You know, there's a huge span of what a tourist is, and we want all of them coming here. You know, we want them to come buy a pair of socks downtown, and we also want them to come, you know, stay in the most expensive Airbnb for a month or longer, and hopefully they come back and maybe they buy a home here. And a big part of what we're doing, and there was a part of it in the slide, I kind of skipped over it, but it's very important. The town and the county both now are working on economic development, and we are hoping to help chime in on some of that economic development where, you know, we need more hotels here. Our budget is limited to what it is based on the number of rooms that we have available. And it's not that many. We don't really have big hotels for people to stay. So, for instance, if someone wants to have a baseball tournament out at Parker Meadows, well, when they bring in 30 teams, there's nowhere for those 30 teams to stay. And so it's important as we work through these economic issues that tourism is a big piece of that. Does anybody have any questions about our plan?
Just more of a statement, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but State Supreme Court, this Currituck County ruling, are you familiar with it? Basically says you can spend that money on anything you want to spend it on. And that solidified it. They spent it on their police department, and they got taken, and it went all the way to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yes, you can justify that as a tourist expense.
The wording is, as a lot of laws are, vague enough to that we could do plenty of things with it, but,
And so, yes, I followed that case. I always thought it was unfortunately overread everywhere because Franklin's got a very vanilla, run-of-the-mill TDA authorization local act that just says, and that's what Mr. Crabtree's getting at, is it just says spend it on tourism-related infrastructure, and it leaves that wide open. In Currituck County, it was more complicated because their law had changed 14 different times, and then to go use it on something that seemed like there was an argument that's not tourism related, but yeah, it has been settled. And I all along thought that the local acts that almost everybody had, including Franklin, were, broad enough that you decide if you think it's tourism related, and if it's not just patently not tourism related, I think we're going to be okay.
All I'm saying is broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
You've got the legal leeway to do it.
and I've got our legislation here. It just says the authority shall use at least 2/3 of the funds remitted under subsection blah, 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 blah. But then it goes to say what those things are. So tourism-related expenditures are the judgment of the Franklin Tourism Development Authority designed to increase the use of lodging facilities. So in that case, if you're in a high-crime area, well, we're not going to get a lot of tourists if they think they're going to get robbed. And so let's use it on police force. But it could come down to, the roots are destroying our sidewalks. Well, tourists walk on our sidewalks. In my mind, that's a tourism-related expenditure. So, again, our budget isn't huge, but it definitely,
I'm just saying, don't feel like you're pinned into, because this legal precedent really opens things up for.
And that's a good thing, a good thing too, as we work with everybody to get more input. What's a good thing?
Recreation, I'm thinking like recreational infrastructure, outdoor infrastructure, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
What is the direction on?
Thanks, Mr. Lewis. Yes, ma'am.
It's always seemed to me that most of the money did go to event type of things. If somebody, if the town wanted to have more recycling bins, and is that something that y'all would be interested in? And then how would that come about? Who would apply for that?
So, I'm not sure exactly who would apply for that, but
in your green statement,
yes, ma'am.
It's chock full of things, not chock full, but there's things in here that we don't have now.
Right.
And I was just wondering, how would that come about to move from partially, having maybe one or two, to have you've got one-on-one here for every trash receptacle would have a.
And that's a big part of this 1, 3, and 5-year plan. As we work through this, with it being a living document, we've been meeting pretty regularly, and so as you bring something like that to me, now I can go back to the subcommittee and say, hey, we've got a pretty big interest in putting recycled containers, and I'll talk to Amy, and if that's something that's not in the town budget, but maybe it's something that could be in the TDA budget. But on the TDA funds mainly being spent on events, that hasn't been the case. It's just what is seen. So what the big part of it, 2/3 of it, is spent on marketing.
Oh, I meant marketing. I knew that.
Okay.
The other part.
Oh, okay.
So, and what we've done previously is the town has actually put in an application, gone through the whole process. That's how the banners are up throughout town. The application.
But that's how it would continue.
Yes, ma'am. We wouldn't skirt the application process.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Anything else?
A couple of comments. Thank you for volunteering your time on that board. Thank you for being proactive. And I appreciate the fact that there's a lot of coordination with our downtown economic plan, our new Main Street nonprofit, and our transformation plan. And I hope to see that continue. And I'll say that this board has always had the philosophy that if you build a great place for the people who live here, people will come. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, mine's more of a comment too. Just a lot of these individuals they're all business owners in their own right. So this is a great deal of time taken out in the middle of the day for the subcommittee on top of their regular duties. So just thank you guys. And as you guys can all see and read, they put a lot of thought and effort into this. I just thank you a lot for spending the tax dollars wisely and planning this out. And it's also just setting a new standard and things for as you guys roll off the board and new members come on, that there is a standard and that there is thinking ahead and planning, and it's not just a handout for smaller events and things like that, as a perception might be. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tomba, for the time you put in. I think it makes a difference having a council member there for sure. Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have our public session. All right, we have a public session, and normally...
Where's the stopwatch?
Right here. Normally, I'd have some smart comment for our speaker tonight, but I'm gonna say
the TDA stuff kind of thing. Mine's kind of like the TDA stuff.
Let me tell you, man, I saw the event on Saturday night, and great.
What about Friday? You didn't see Friday?
I did not see Friday.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was good.
All right,
Disappointing. I just want to tell y'all thank you so much for another great year of. Joe, I didn't see you this year. Where we at? I'm disappointed this year, Joe. I'm disappointed, Joe. I thought you'd get out there dance with me this year. But I want to thank y'all so much for this year. Y'all gave y'all support. We did a great job. Jeff Berry is the best ever. Amy Owens, right there next. They're both neck and neck on who's better than who. They're both great individuals. Brad's awesome too. So I mean, y'all gave us everything we needed, and we can't thank y'all enough. And we're looking forward to next year being even better. So we hope that y'all next year will give your support again and allow us to shut down the street and have a great time again. Because we almost, I think, tripled our number of attendees this year, and we got a lot of kids too, I think too.
Well, thank you, because you've turned it into something that the amount of participation rivals anything I've seen in a major city. I mean,
thank you.
You all ought to be proud of it. Your whole staff.
I have a great board, and I have a great advisors on that stuff, and we're really doing amazing. And like I said, we had a lot of kids come up to the nurses this year to get advice. How do we get involved with the hospital from Macon County? That was our goal too, to get more families involved. And we can't thank y'all enough. I just want to tell y'all thank you. And you look for your calendars in January.
And we appreciate the fact that we and the merchants appreciate the fact that it's downtown. I have a question for you.
What's that?
First year you did it, how much money did you raise?
$500 and 53 attendees.
And how much money did you raise last year?
$36,000, and if everything goes right and everything goes smooth, we will be a lot better than that this year. And like I said, I mean, last year we had probably about 3,500 people per night, and I think looking at the drone shots and everything, I think we kind of doubled that, almost maybe a little bit more, not double, but we're up there. So, but I just want to tell y'all thank you. I wanted to come personally and say thank you, and then I can go home now and sleep for a couple of days.
Yes.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, next we have items from the council. And since we have items from the council and I'm a council member, I'm going to take the prerogative before we go through the agenda items to welcome my granddaughter, Eliza Wadowitz, to the meeting tonight. Stand up, Eliza. That's the way to make a papa really happy. All right, I'm going to read a resolution and then a proclamation on the same subject. And when I get done, I'm going to ask everyone here who is here for these two items, to come up. We are honored tonight to have in this room many individuals who have sacrificed for this country and continue to sacrifice for their fellow veterans in the organizations that support our veterans. We thank you for that. The first is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Franklin to designate the Town of Franklin as a Purple Heart community. Whereas Gregory Hunt, USMC veteran, 1980 to 1988, and 828 Vets, which was founded in 2022 as a patriotic veterans organization and devoted to mutual helpfulness. Their commitment to veterans and their families within the 828 area code of North Carolina and sponsorship of wholesome programs in our communities advocating patriotism and honor, promoting strong national security, and continued devotion to our fellow service members and veterans, submits this resolution for consideration. Whereas 828's Vets is a nonpartisan, not-for-profit organization that stands behind the issues most important to the local and nation's veteran community, backed by decisions and actions by its volunteers and its volunteer leadership. 828 Vets' success depends entirely on those engaged in participation in volunteerism. It belongs to the people it serves and the community in which it thrives, the communities in which it thrives. Whereas veterans of the town of Franklin have been blessed with a great community for which to serve, and sincerely appreciate the support from the town of Franklin, North Carolina leadership and those it serves, and the excellent support from all who selflessly give of themselves and the community of which they serve. Whereas throughout the town of Franklin, North Carolina, there are many veterans that served their country and community with honor and distinction and were wounded in battle defending this nation and community. Some wounded multiple times and have received the Purple Heart, the nation's oldest military award, for their unselfish service. The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the armed forces of the U.S. who are wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of the enemy, and posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who are killed in action or die of wounds received in action. It is specifically a combat decoration. Whereas in an attempt to honor those recipients of the Purple Heart Medal for being wounded in battle, Gregory Hunt, USMC veteran, and the veterans of 828 Vets wish to recognize them by designating the town of Franklin, North Carolina, a Purple Heart community. This recognition will show all who enter the town of Franklin, North Carolina, we remember those who gave of themselves to maintain freedom for all. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council persons in regular council session assembled, at which a quorum is present, that the town of Franklin, North Carolina be designated as a Purple Heart community. Upon approval of this resolution, Gregory Hunt, USMC veteran, and 828 Vets will work with the town of Franklin, North Carolina, and the North Carolina Department of Transportation to place proper signage to identify the town of Franklin, North Carolina as a Purple Heart community. Be it further resolved that any available help to fulfill the identifying signage locations and work to place signage in appropriate locations shall be provided by appropriate departments within the town of Franklin, North Carolina government. Be it finally ordained that all portions of this resolution, inconsistent with any other resolutions or laws, be compared and if possible combined, and that this resolution shall become effective upon ratification by the mayor and town council of Franklin, North Carolina, adopted this third day of August 2026. Now, I'm going to read the proclamation. Proclamation: Purple Heart Community and observance of August the 7th as National Purple Heart Day. Whereas the people of the town of Franklin, North Carolina have great admiration and utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served their country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas veterans have paid the high price of freedom by leaving their families and communities and placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women from the town of Franklin, North Carolina, who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas many men and women in uniform have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and whereas many citizens of our community have earned the Purple Heart Medal as a result of being wounded while engaged in combat with an enemy force, construed as a singularly meritorious act of essential service, and whereas August 7th of each year, National Purple Heart Day, has officially been designated in the town of Franklin, North Carolina, to remember and recognize veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Stacy J. Guffey, on behalf of the Town Council of the town of Franklin, North Carolina, hereby proclaim the town of Franklin as a Purple Heart community and celebrate National Purple Heart Day on August 7th, 2026 honoring the service and sacrifice of our nation's men and women in uniform, wounded or killed by the enemy while serving to protect the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. Now, who's coming to the front to accept these resolutions? Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, sir. Yeah, let's do that.
I said a few words.
Okay, I'll do the first 45 minutes and then Bill will take over.
Do a short 30.
But thank you, Mr. Mayor, Town Councilman, ladies, and those present to see this proclamation and this resolution this evening. Macon County has the highest per capita veterans in the state of North Carolina. At 9.7% of the residents of Macon County are veterans. That totals out to around 2,994 veterans registered Macon County as their home. There's not a singular registry for Purple Heart recipients, but a project that I've been working on for the past several years. I've gone to different registries and I have identified 450 Purple Heart recipients that has listed Macon County as their residents at some point in time. So that number fluctuates with those that are deceased or moved away, but it's a large population. Along with 828 vets, veterans is a big part of our community. And without the community support and backing, we couldn't do what we do. And I wanted to honor our veterans, especially those that left a part of them behind on the battlefield. Because what people don't realize is the Purple Heart medal is not won, it's awarded. And it's only awarded to those that left part of their self on a battlefield. So I am hereby presenting the new signs to the town of Franklin. Should we do this? Who's got the checkbook? No, actually, and this is the first time anyone other than myself has seen these. So, and I hope I've done the town and our veterans proud with this. This is it's a lightweight, reflective aluminum sign. So when those headlights hit it at night, it will reflect. There's 5 of these that will be placed at each entrance into the town of Franklin. So no matter where you're coming from, you will see this to know that the town of Franklin supports our veterans, and especially our Purple Heart recipients. Thank you.
Thank you for your work on it. I'm going to present these resolutions to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. The next proclamation is to an organization that means a lot to me because y'all have helped people that I care about. And I'm really grateful for the work that you do. This is a proclamation recognizing August 28, 2026 as 828 Vets Day. Whereas 828 Vets is an all-volunteer charitable organization started in Franklin in October 2021. And whereas 828 Vets' mission is to fill in gaps and support veterans and their families by providing resources and services that may lie outside of the parameters of existing organizations and assistance programs. And whereas 828 Vets has an active team who meet weekly and hold a monthly social on the last Friday of each month and encourage the community to attend. And whereas all of the assistance provided in the form of household donations, home repairs, modifications for handicap access, and volunteer activities are done within the 828 area code, with more than 95% done locally. And whereas 828 Vets provide opportunities for veterans to continue working with their fellow veterans as servant leaders for the betterment of our community, and whereas without dedicated veterans, including 828 Vets, our country would not have been able to celebrate its 250th anniversary. Now therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the town of Franklin, I, Stacey J. Guffey, on behalf of the town council of the town of Franklin, do hereby deem it an honor to present this proclamation and formally recognize August 28, 2026 as 828 Vets Day in the town of Franklin, and urge all citizens to recognize these veterans' faithful and loyal devotion to the community and to each other this day, the 3rd of August, 2026.
So my composure's back. Greg, that was awesome, by the way. It's always hard when you start talking about Purple Heart recipients, but thank you all. We changed 828 Day. We were doing our anniversary, which was October, and we decided there were so many things that weekend piled upon, and we were like, you know what, let's pick something that makes sense. And as a group, we said, our new birthday is August 28th. It makes sense, it fits in 828, let's just do it. And we changed it, and this year is going to be the second year that we've actually done it, what we're going to do on the square, and we've asked you, Mr. Mayor, if you'll come and join us for that, at least at the beginning. And the morning will take place pretty much from about 8. We have some support from Crabtree and some other places there to give the veterans as they're growing, and the people who come in to have coffee and donuts, and then we'll go into the program and we'll do our Warriors Walk, and then we'll end up cooking for all the visitors and the veterans and warriors. And I have a special guest coming this year, and if he lets me down, then he'll never live it down. But he worked for me for a couple of years, and we were in the Navy together, and we both made it to captain. And so you guys know Captain Phillips that was captured by the Somali pirates. The captain of the ship of the Bainbridge, Frank Castellano, who is a good friend, and he's going to come and be the guest speaker there. I was wondering if he was going to be too busy, but he's not. And he'll be here, and he will speak a short spill there, and then he'll be around for the whole event. And then we'll finish that around 1 p.m. and then we're going to start back up at 5 p.m. at Currahee, just as a get together and people come and do some more silent auction. So we appreciate it, and we appreciate all the recognition, because these people work hard. They work hard, and it hasn't stopped this summer. And we're getting ready. We're going to do 3 bathrooms, handicap bathrooms, change them over. 2 of them will start this week, and then we'll have another one. And you know, when you're talking about 30 people that can actually get out and do stuff like that, but a lot of other people have important roles behind the scenes. Appreciate it, and it's an honor to be here, and thanks again. And thank you. Yeah. Well, come on up, guys.
We do have some of the spouses here today. Let's see what we have. Let's stand next to Christian. That way I look small.
You too, could
I'll stay with you. Would you stand here for a while? Yes. He's one of us. He's working. Good job.
Dan's one of us too, although I guess he's not getting in the picture.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And this next group, this next group is the
We have a large group of people in the room dedicated to the betterment of their fellow humans' lives. And it gives me great honor to read another proclamation. Whereas the town of Franklin proclaims the week of September 13th, 2026 through September 19th, 2026 to be set aside as a week of public support for our homeless veterans, thereby encouraging our citizens to support the efforts to help homeless and distressed veterans. And whereas the efforts of the men's group of the First Presbyterian Church of Franklin have earned the goodwill and positive response from our local merchants, thereby allowing the men's group to place donation collection receptacles in their establishments. And whereas the First Presbyterian Church men's group will manage the receptacles and collect the donations received to be used to support ongoing programs for our homeless veterans of Western North Carolina. Now therefore, I, Stacy J. Guffey, Mayor, on behalf of the Town Council of the Town of Franklin, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of September 13th through 19th as Help Homeless Veterans Week and commend its observance and encourage our citizens to support the efforts to help our homeless and distressed veterans. Thank you.
I tell Ned to smile, but he never
Thank you. Thank you.
As a member of the First Presbyterian Church of Franklin, we thank the town of Franklin for approving this proclamation. We've been doing this, we've been raising money for homeless vets and vets in need since 2014. Since 2018, we've been doing the canisters in various businesses. Anywhere between 60 and 70 businesses we have put containers in, and we've raised, some years we've raised $3,000 in a week and a half. Last year was a little over, I think, $2,000. So, but we've been doing this since 2014, and we have raised through this, the Help Homeless Veteran Week, and participating in festivals like Pumpkin Fest and various other festivals. We're over $80,000 that we've raised for veterans. And for the last, I think, 3 years, we've been donating all of our money to 828 vets. And they really put the money to good use by doing what they're doing now, like doing the bathrooms and handicap ramps and all that. We've given over $34,000 to 828 vets in the last 2 or 3 years. So last year we gave them $12,000 just by asking people for money. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm a little speechless. There's so many good items on the agenda tonight and so many good people doing great things. I really appreciate it. Next on the agenda is the Main Street update. That is, yeah, you guys can hang around.
We'd love to, but you got a bathroom to do.
Thank you.
So our next item to present, I have to introduce the new, I would say she's part-time executive director of the Main Street nonprofit, but it seems to be full-time work. Someone who volunteered a lot to get the nonprofit up and running. Congratulate the new executive director, Devin Puig, who's going to get some.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I know that there's been a lot going on tonight already, so I won't take up too much of your time. You do have the final version of this first year's annual work plan for the Main Street nonprofit in front of you. It's a lot to look through, but I'm here to answer any questions if you have them. Basically, the most important takeaway is that this first year is really focused on building the foundation that we need in order to make strides with this nonprofit. So it will include making connections for potential grant funding, forming committees, bringing volunteers together from around the community, getting all of the stakeholders together in the same rooms and talking about that shared vision and figuring out how to utilize the resources and the programs that we already have and build on those and add more to continue moving forward. So I'm very excited to work on this project this upcoming year and hopefully for many years to come. Do any of the council members have questions that I can answer this evening? That was almost too easy.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you all so much. Thanks, Adam.
All right, we're on items from the council. I'll go around the room and I'll start with Joe Collins, who's not paying attention. Mr. Hickman. Ms. Lane.
No, nothing, honey.
Made me blush. Mr. Vice Mayor. Mr. Talbot.
This quick thing, I know the mayor and I have been meaning to circle up, and I just want to say here that I do want to get together on just continuing to work on things for young families, or for families and for young people to do in our community. And I just want to announce that I want that to be a big part of here in the next few months, us circling up and having more conversation around that. There's some good ideas we already have, so we need to put some legs on those, because we all have ideas, but we need to get it moving, because another year, so let's get some stuff rolling.
Mr. Berry. I will add to Mr. Tompa's comments that we have heard a lot in the Main Street efforts that we're doing, the economic development plan, the transformation plan, that young people want things to do, families want things to do. It's funny, I didn't know that kids still were into bowling, but we keep hearing from kids all ages, we need a bowling alley, we need a skating rink. So, yeah, let's get to work. All right. Before we go to public hearing, we are going to take a 5-minute recess, mayor's prerogative, and then we will reconvene.
A few minutes later.
We're back to order.
Look at you. You want candy, don't hand it.
Yeah, I only got 250. I don't expect I'll hand as many of those out as I did.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing to gain input on rezoning of 1.10 acres at 85 Maple Street from commercial C2 to commercial C2 conditional zoning. We will hear from the fire chief / town planner, Justin Sesser.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. Yeah, before you tonight, you'll see an application for conditional rezoning for, like I said, 1.10 acres off of Maple Street, right behind the fire department, owned by OHNC LLC. John Hamlin, Mr. John Hamlin is here tonight, representative of them. Since we're asking for a conditional rezoning to increase the density of the site higher than what the allowed use would be for just a traditional zoning of C2. They currently have 2 homes on there now on the property, and they're wanting to construct 2 more townhomes, duplexes. This went before the planning board. The planning board reviewed it back in May and gave it their stamp of approval, had public comment there, a couple people from the, we actually had a neighborhood meeting, people from the community came to that, and then none came to the planning board meeting, and then also we had none signed up tonight either. Site served by water and sewer. There are some conditions that they have asked, to have no zero lot line between the duplex, lower setbacks on some of the sides from the 10-foot side to 5 feet, and then the town's asked the conditions of, if we ever want to install a sidewalk on this property, to do that. As far as everything's been agreed upon, as you can see in the ordinance that John drew up. And I'll let John talk more about the ordinance since he drew up the ordinance.
I don't know how to put out a fire. I do know how to draw an ordinance, so I thought it would be good if we let Justin concentrate on that.
We have been thinking about making him / town attorney.
I think there's every possibility of that, but I just would happy to answer any questions you've got about it, but the thing I would like to emphasize for this, Mr. Mayor and council members, is this is a great use of conditional zoning where they're asking for a very slight change in what you would normally require in terms of setbacks, and in exchange you will get this particular plan done to increase housing right in town. It's exactly the kind of things that you want to try to encourage. So that's the kind of trade-off you want to look for in a conditional zoning. So I think you ought to be pleased to have this come to you and to encourage more of this exact kind of use of this process. I'm happy to answer any questions you've got about it.
So this sidewalk right away, do you anticipate that section of sidewalk might make its way into the bike ped plan?
With still some time, yeah, we could make a note of that section there, and because they're still in the draft, we haven't got the final draft of the bike ped plan yet. Right. So yeah, it could be make a notation of it in there. Obviously, it's not all the way up the right side of Maple Street. It would be just at the end of this piece of property. Right. But everything below of it, the town owns. Right. So.
And a higher density, that falls in line with the comp plan anyway, right?
Yeah, it's it was one of the goals of the comp plan is to increase, density in certain areas for homes, since there's so much need for housing in Macon County and Franklin.
Justin, you've talked about the places for two houses, correct?
Yes.
On this application, though, it talks about 4 to 8 units proposed.
Yeah, there is an option on the top up there. They could do some more, but it's going to potentially would probably take a lot of work, cut a lot of trees, and it gets a little steep. So there is an option in the future they could, if they decide they wanted to. But right now, I think he just wants to do the two, the duplex.
Would they have to come back, or would this cover it if they did more?
If they stayed within the traditional, if they stayed just within the traditional zoning section, they would not. If it was, the standard 2/10 of an acre or whatever per house, they wouldn't need to if they would decide to add a house or something up the hill or something.
All right. I'm going to call the public hearing to order. Call the public hearing to order. We have a sign-up sheet. Looks like there are several really angry people here tonight to speak against it.
Uh-oh.
No one signed up for the public hearing, so I'll adjourn the public hearing and
Motion to approve.
entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I hear any discussion?
Like John says, happy to do it. Like to see this kind of thing.
Close to a park, close to grocery stores.
Absolutely.
Good place for density. All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, motion carries.
Thank y'all.
All right, item number 10, old business. Consider the waiver of continuing use fees for Southwestern Community College. Town Manager Amy Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At your July 6th meeting, you'll recall the town council voted unanimously to waive the system development availability fees for Southwestern Community College for the burn building. They did have an additional request to waive the future usage fees. At that time, the town council was not prepared to make a decision either way, and that was tabled until tonight. What I've provided you with in your packet is some options that could be available related to these fees. The first being charging the specified rate for water using the 4-inch line, which is 18,000 gallon minimum per month. You could choose an inside rate, which would be $285.37, or the outside rate where they actually are at $561.21. The other option is to allow them to utilize a hydrant meter, which actually records the actual usage that they're using at the time, offering a discounted rate using an inside volume rate, which is $5.28 versus the $8.10 flat rate per 1,000 for bulk water, like you use to fill swimming pools. So for example, if you're using 10,000 gallons on an exercise, your cost is $52.80. Or any other options that you all in the town council would be willing to entertain for that. The goal is to make sure that we recoup some of the costs to actually make and treat the water that's being used that goes through the system. And also to note that there are a lot of other government entities, nonprofits, educational institutions that also utilize our water system, and if we just start waiving all the fees for usage, then that's going to fall back on our regular commercial and residential customers to make up that difference. So I think with the amount of service that Southwestern does provide to the town and the county, it does make sense to give them some sort of discount, but not to waive fees totally. But again, that is your decision as a town council.
I agree. And you say if we metered the hydrant, how would it get charged? How would you?
Per 1,000 gallons. It'd be a flat rate, $5.28 per 1,000.
I think that's just fair to our other customers.
I believe that's what we need to land.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do we know who's paying the water bill?
At the moment, the county is paying the water bill, yes, sir.
I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
The motion to
Put a metered hydrant out there. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for the
Put a metered hydrant
528.
out there.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. We will let Southwestern Community College know. And we-
It did not, so if we need another motion or
We
whatever.
had two choices on the rates, right? Inside or out? Outside.
No, for this one, it was
That one, it was different.
the $5.28, which is the inside rate per thousand.
It's a bulk rate.
Yeah. So we good?
Good, and you'll
I will let them
inform
know. Yes, sir, and we will make sure they have a hydrant meter.
Thank you for getting that
And
information.
you'll make sure that their names are spelled correctly on the envelope.
Yes, sir.
Inside joke, sorry. All right, under new business, item A, request approval of economic development incentive grants. Assistant Town Manager, Finance Director, Sarah Bishop.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've got two items for you to consider tonight, one of which is a grant that you guys approved last year about this time. But unfortunately, the applicants have had a few issues after being awarded the grant for their new awning with installation and some product quality. So they had to back up and start their process over. So the first part of my request, do we need to do two motions for these, I guess? Is that what we're looking for tonight? Two different motions?
Yes, I think so.
That's what I thought.
Safe and sorry, yeah.
So I would like to request that for the kitchen sink, that we approve giving them an additional allotment because the new awning that they have purchased to have installed and a new sign is going to cost them quite a bit more than what they had initially thought when they came to us with their first application. So they are going well over the maximum match. So we would be looking at a payout to them of $2,244.18, and that would maximize the $5,000 facade grant and the $500 sign grant for them, taking into consideration what you guys have already awarded them. That's the difference.
And the business owner's satisfied that we won't be here next year?
I mean, they're doing the best they can.
Well, and Mr. Mayor, briefly to that end, I'm working on just a simple form contract that's not unlike what we used to do with nonprofit donations to say, here's how you can use this. We need to make the town a direct party to these so that there won't be this. We made it work and we figured out a way to make clear to the contractor that we weren't going to be satisfied with that work. But this really is as much for the town's benefit as the owner. So we need to make clear what the town's stake in it is and have an easy way to step in and be, defend our business owner if things don't go right. So we're working on that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. So then the next proposal is for Nantahala Building Products on Depot Street. Last month, I brought you a grant for Franklin Machine Shop next door. So I actually was speaking with Nantahala Building Products back in the winter time when they were talking about repainting their building, and you probably can see that they have already painted. They initially signed the application back in February, but they have actually already done the work, so they are requesting the facade grant as well. And we have not done this yet as far as, and it doesn't state in our policy that we won't retroactively award grants, so I guess it's up to you guys what you would like to do, because they have already done the work. The building has already been cleaned up and repainted. If you've been through there, it's a big difference, and I included some pictures in the agenda packet for you to see as well. So I guess I kind of just need to know where you guys fall on that, and then depending on how we move forward, we can make updates to the policy to make it clear how that will be in the future.
I don't have a vote on this, but I would highly recommend it because it is a major improvement to Depot Street.
But, you know, this is for incentives. And, I mean, it may be, in this case, they were in touch with us and, you know, it might make sense for this one, but really, the incentive is to get it done, not just help pay for it after it's already been done.
Well, that's why moving forward, Sarah and I had a conversation, we need to be a little bit more specific in we need our own criteria. It's better spelled out than to avoid situations like this. But I think I don't want to discourage somebody from making improvement, because I don't know if you drove down through Depot Street lately, but every business down there should be commended, because that stretch of street is looking 10 times better than it has in recent years. And I don't want to discourage that momentum that's going on down there. So, but moving forward, you're absolutely right. We need to be a little bit more clear about when, deadlines, this sort of thing, and that it does function as an incentive. So.
Sarah, do you have any idea that they actually thought that they had applied?
No, we have not actually received.
And you don't have anything that backs up how much or anything?
Oh, no, yes, I do. I have the invoices to show.
But that's not in our packet.
Okay, sorry, it's in my folder here. So yes, I've got documentation showing where over the last, it looks like the first one was March 3rd. They had a contractor that did painting for them, and there was 2 separate contracts for that. The total was, I have it written down somewhere. Total was, make sure I'm looking at off 50%, I'm sorry. The total grant request would be for $4,067.13. So their total they spent was $6,214? No. 8,000, sorry. We do a 50% match up to 5,000 is our max.
So they would, if they didn't spend.
They spent 8,000, I'm sorry. They spent 8,000. Can't do anything without a calculator anymore, I apologize. $8,104.26 in expenses that apply to our facade grant. They made other improvements internally that I told them did not qualify, so that I took those expenses off.
You know, might talk about in the future, we need to, I mean, to me, it's clear enough it's for incentives. And I just don't.
Well, I mean, we've done that in the past with other, but similar things. We've said, well, we're going to go ahead and do this, but we're going to be clear about how we move forward. We've done that in the past.
Well,
not for an incentive grant, though.
I mean, not on this particular issue, I don't think. This is so new to us.
I mean, they showed interest in February. I mean, if they hadn't showed any interest back in February, I'd be inclined to agree with you, but. But that's the will of the board, whatever. I'm gonna make the motion to approve, but, and if we don't get a second, we don't get a second, but it's obviously the will of the board, but that's where I'm at on it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second? No second?
It's for 4,100 or 4,050 or something.
$4,067.13.
And you do have approximately $60,000 budgeted for economic development incentives.
Should we go forward? Next time, make sure we're clear about how this is done.
Yeah, I think that's what the discussion is. So.
I mean, they do a lot for the community.
Yeah, they do. So we have a motion.
Second.
Good. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Let's just be clear next time.
I'm going to take the policies that we currently have and find places where we need to put some clarification and maybe make some adjustments. And then I'll bring it back to you guys for review if that's acceptable.
Sounds good, thank you. Item B, request approval of new 5-year contract with J&B Disposal. Town Manager Amy Owens.
Thank you, sir. We've got, Miss Benita is here.
I'm not in my normal mode of transportation, so bear with me. My name is Benita Hamstra. I know most of you, I think. I am needing my 5-year extension, and normal thing of replacing equipment and paying bills. So have the assurance that it's going to continue.
And we have, as the town, had a very long and successful relationship with J&B Disposal. The town took over emptying the trash cans on Main Street on July the 1st. The contract is within my signature authority. However, because it is a multi-year contract, it does have to come back to the town council for approval. But as Benita said, they have expenditures, of course, that they need to make sure that they meet, and equipment and things like that. But the cost is actually lower than what the existing contract is. So, yeah.
Benita, the last 4 or 5 times you come before us, you've always said you've been to the bank, you need to borrow some money for capital equipment, but they won't loan it to you if you don't have a 5-year lease.
Well,
you're not even going that route today.
Well, you know what? I figured you heard that enough because you know that by
now.
John, you care to briefly explain why we have to do this every?
Yeah, it's one of the few remaining vestiges of local franchises. You have the option, but not the obligation, to run a municipally funded trash collection service. You also have the option to allow a provider to come in and be the one who, anybody who's a resident knows that's who they're going to turn to. And so I think that's, every place I've lived anyway, that's been the option that the local government's taken. And that's the way it's been since I've been the town attorney, probably long before that.
Do I hear a motion? I have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Item number C, request approval of award to HMC Paving Company for multi-area paving and sidewalks. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did an RFP for the multi-area paving and sidewalks. Sent that out right after the budget year switched. First time we only got 2 bids. We couldn't open, so we put it out again. Second time we got 2 bids as well. The lowest responsive bid that we received was from HMC Paving Company in the amount of $635,126.99. We did budget approximately $840,000 in the budget for this year. So well under what's budgeted. We've worked with HMC in the past on several other paving projects. So just need your approval. We can do the award and get the contract, and then we can start paving some stuff.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So when do we figure out what else we get to pave?
Well, let's make sure we get through all of this first without change orders. So, but you should have money left to do some additional projects, probably in the spring, because these are all set to happen hopefully as soon as possible before the asphalt plant closes.
So I was gonna say, they feel confident they can finish them all before that.
They can do most of them probably before the asphalt plant. The primary priority though is going to be the large parking lot at Sunnyside.
And so the parking lots in town, we'll need to have discussions about some activities on those parking lots, correct?
I'm sorry, what is?
Some regularly scheduled activities on parking lots.
Yes, we will have to address those moving forward.
And then our paving study,
We'll do an RFP for that, to do a pavement conditioning study. It was budgeted in the streets budget for this year.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right. Item D, request adoption of the utility refunds policy. Town Attorney John Henning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members will recall a couple of months ago, we had the issue that we dealt with over a couple of months and studied it as to what your policy might be as to a request to refund a initial payment of tap and availability fees for a service for water and sewer. As I told you, over that period of time, there's not any legal obligation to provide a refund for that sort of thing. But if you were going, and then you ultimately did make some concession, and to how you were going to approach that in the future needed to be put down so that we'd know what the policy is. So that's what the purpose of this is. Just to run through it briefly, there's subsection A there that is about, the only things that I really found were your other peer municipalities are making refunds, have a policy about them, is this collection of a deposit. And so that's a whole separate thing about just opening an account for somebody who doesn't show that they have good credit, or if their credit isn't great for some reason, you take a deposit just as a hedge on any future problem. This does make clear that that's been your policy, that when they terminate service, if they've been required to make a deposit payment, then that's going to be refunded to them. Just, it goes along with it, but really the meat of this is in subsection B about tap and availability fees. And I've set a procedure there for somebody who has made a request to get it, to start that process, what they have to show you in terms of eligibility for it. And I think the eligibility thing under section 2 down there is the relevant thing I would want to know if I were in your shoes, that we're saying that these would be available if it's a residential service of a size of 1 inch or less, would be eligible for a refund of tap and system development fees. So if somebody goes to build a house, then it falls through for whatever reason, you're not going to stick them with tap and availability fees. But anybody else, and this ought to be plenty of warning, if you're going to build something larger than that, you know you're paying this down and it's not going anywhere. Now, if you, as we talked about at the time of that last couple of months ago, the person would be able to sell it as already having utilities there and on the site and everything, and that sort of thing. But that's their business, not the town's at that point. Because once they have paid that, and the larger the service, the more substantial the outlay the town might have in terms of buying equipment and paying for that future availability of services, it's not fair to expect you to regurgitate all that when you've already, put it into the system, so to speak. So that's what this would do. I'm happy to answer any questions or entertain discussion about it.
Is there a timeline on how long, they don't get that money back, but that doesn't go in perpetuity? In other words, somebody 20 years from now were to buy that property and our cost is increased by tenfold.
Yeah.
Is there something that covers that in there?
We talked about that in the ordinance review committee, and I don't know that I'll put anything in here to address that. So we can look at that issue.
Just make it a credit toward whatever the current rate is.
Yeah, you could do that.
So would you just add another item there, John?
Yeah, we can do that.
Just bring it back in September.
Yeah, we'll bring it back in September with that added.
Any further questions for the town attorney? All right, thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
Now, we'll do our departmental updates. And the Gringo local is up again for Public Works. Be careful what you tell the mayor.
Yes, Mayor. I may have a couple on you, but we'll not do that tonight. So, thank you, Mayor, Town Council. I wanted to give you an update of, since June when I was here, there was a council member said that there's a lot of things in this budget that was passed that gets done. And you're looking at one of the departments that does a lot of that work, and that's Public Works. And so tonight you're going to hear a lot of capital improvement updates, other projects that are going on. It takes a lot of time and effort, and my employees do a great job with that. So with that, most of them are sitting back here tonight. But so what are we currently working on? We are currently working on a 2-inch water line on Hillside Street. Bids are coming through. That was in the budget. We're waiting on one more bid for the boring end of that water line on Hillside Street, which will encompass part of this paving project that you're going to see that was just awarded. So we're trying to get that water line in before that paving gets done up there. Some of the capital improvement projects that were in this budget year are already in the works. The generator transfer switch for the Welcome Center sewer pump station down on the Georgia Road is already here. Concrete pads poured. We're ready to set that in place in the next month or so once we get with Toccoa Gas and get everything lined out with them. We also have received 25 new storage adapters, which we're working with the fire department on where to locate those this time. I think they've actually used a couple of those adapters in a recent fire or two on Highlands Road, and they said it really helped them out tremendously there. So we're working with them on where to install those, which was a capital improvement through the fire hydrant CIP. We are also working on pump station upgrades. We've got 2 motors in, waiting on 3 pumps to come in. So those projects are already underway. The one I'm most excited about, with a little bit of nervousness on my end, is we have started getting in our new CE, LTE cellular meters coming in, which you guys have been part of that pilot program, and I'm looking forward to getting those installed. We've got 250 on the way. We've got 1.5-inch meters on the way, 1-inch meters. We can get these LTEs on any size meter that we have. So I kind of broke them up in half to get half now and half before Thanksgiving so my guys can get them put in. So I'm really excited about seeing how this program is going to work, especially with our meter reader. So some of the proactive and permit requirements, we've cleaned over 10,000 feet of sewer the last quarter. So that's a permit requirement that we have to go out, pop manholes, jet sewer lines, clean them out. We've made a few repairs on some of those that we have found as well. So I'm going to skip the employee updates and certifications because most of those were in your previous meeting agenda. But I'm really proud of all my guys back there. They take time to get these certifications. They put time and effort into that. And I'm really proud of those guys for doing that. Other items to note, we had a pre-construction meeting July 16th out at the Almond Drive Boardwalk. So all of our requirements have been met. We've got approval from the state with the laydown yard for them. We're looking at a tentative start date of mid to late October for that. So just so you guys are aware of that project will be getting underway soon. And then I would like to say thank you to this board and the management for implementing the in-house fleet mechanic. I've already seen a lot of positive come from that position. Allie's worked really well with us on that. You can ask any of our departments that have had issues with maintenance so far. Tim is really great with that, and I've been thinking about this for years, and it's finally coming through. So with y'all's support and Amy's directions, I'm really thankful for that. And also too, new budget year came through. As for me, I will always come here and say thank you for your support with our COLAs and our steps. My employees appreciate that, and I feel like I need to make sure I let you guys know that we do appreciate that. So with that, that's all I have for tonight. If anybody got any questions for me?
I have a question, Bill. The Almond Drive, the boardwalk, after the boardwalk's put in, will there be any treatment to the walking surface, or will it remain gravel?
It will remain gravel for now. I know there was some works in there, and Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, but for now, I think we were going to leave it gravel up until a certain point, and then we were going to talk about it at a future date, if I'm correct.
You're correct, because it's hard to get the actual equipment in there. It weighs a lot to do the actual paving, but if we can use crush and run, that's acceptable for strollers, wheelchairs, and bicycles.
Yes, sir.
That boardwalk doesn't have sides to it, does it?
Yes, it will.
It will?
Yes.
Okay.
It will be 10 foot wide with 4 foot, I think it's 4 feet handrails on each side.
Okay, when I was reading 4 feet, I was thinking it was 4 feet wide.
No, it's 10 feet wide with 4 foot high.
All right, good. Because somebody at the Frog Quarters, the Friends of the Greenway, had asked about whether there would be room to put, like a little platform out to look, and I said, you can just look. I mean,
Was it anything over 30 has to have a handrail?
Yes.
well, you could. I mean, you just stand there and look.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, thank you. But I wasn't sure about the handrail.
Yeah, there'll be handrails on there. Yep.
I didn't even say it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, concerns?
Just a thank you back to you for your responsiveness. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Appearing for the second time tonight, Mr. Kyle Poquette, Water Treatment Plant Supervisor.
Plan, we're running like normal. Water usage is pretty much the same as always. We still are under a voluntary water restriction due to being in an extreme drought area. We have to report twice to 2 different state agencies, and now we have to report to our state local inspector on our weekly and daily water usage. I've never even heard of most of this. We have washed both of our settling basins, cleaned them out, had our annual state inspection. She was happy to see progress going on at the plant for the upgrades. The contractors are working diligently to get the building erected, and all the electrical and HVAC had actually started today. We did have one issue with one of the inserted valves that were put in, and that was resolved this morning. So the money is worth it that we paid for it. And we also had the bypass tie-in was done and complete. So we are completely running on piping that is above the ground at the moment. Other than that, it's all good. And I try to send as many pictures as I can. But any questions? All right.
Great, thank you, Kyle. All right, Jason Hopkins, Wastewater Treatment Plant Supervisor.
I'm back. I wear a few hats, so I'll touch on the ORC wastewater plant. Our big item this year that you guys approved was a SCADA system. It is our eyes and ears when we are asleep. Keeps the public and the environment protected. It's very important, so if something goes wrong in the plant, it will call us. Whoever's on call will come in, make sure that everything's safe for the public and the environment. So we're in preliminary talks now with Fortec to get that ball rolling, hopefully sooner than later. They're pretty busy. As far as my other hat, I'm also the pre-treatment coordinator, so business is booming. I get a call probably every week for a new food truck or restaurant. Some of them aren't real happy with me because we all have to play by the same rules with grease traps and protecting our infrastructure, which is important. And also we had a pre-treatment inspection that went well. There were no findings from the state, so we remain in compliance there. And now I've put on a new hat with bacteriological testing for when we have hot breaks and everything like that. The boil water advisories, now I'm kind of heading that and making sure we're testing our drinking water, making sure that it's safe for the public and we can take the boil water advisories off. Just had our inspection, our first inspection there from the state. Everything's good, so that ball should be on the way down the hill now. So if there's any questions or concerns, I'll be happy to answer them.
Very good.
No? Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. All right. Next, we have the street supervisor, Chris Waldron.
Mayor, Town Council, thank y'all for having me. Just some updates from streets. We are in the process of our right-of-way long arm mowing right now. We're making our way through town. Trying to send weekly updates as we change positions so we can put out a notice of kind of where we're going to be. So that'll kind of help curb some of those phone calls when you're getting to my location next. People kind of know where we're at. Still in the dog days of summer, mowing, weed eating are still progressing along. We're able to keep some of the scheduling of some of our beautification beds we were talked about controlling in the middle of town down. So we got a schedule working for those. Trash pickup is going really well along Main Street. I think we're in a good routine there. We're able to adjust some schedules, so some guys are here early to be able to get up there before the traffic's a problem. They're able to go through, get it taken care of. Haven't seen really any issues with that. Haven't heard any issues back about overflowing cans or anything on that end. So I think that's working well, and I'm hoping once we do get our new receptacles and those things, that process will, even though there's more of them, it'll just be the same routine. We're kind of got caught off guard with some weather. What didn't let us do as much bed maintenance as we wanted at Women's History Trail roundabouts, but those are getting back under control. Did some weed spraying on those. Got some pruning to do, so as soon as we get weather changes, we can get back on those and we'll get those tidied up. Bathroom update about Sunnyside Park. Plumbers have been there. They were there end of the week. They were there today doing installing fixtures, sinks and toilets and those kind of things. So they've been working diligently, hoping this week that the paving of our walkway to the playground off of that bathroom area will be done this week. They've installed gravel. I think they've got a little more gravel to do. Talked to the paver today. He's hoping to bring his machine tomorrow, catch the right weather. I think that's a day project for them once they knock that out. We're at that point where everybody's kind of on top of each other, so kind of this plumber's got to get out of the way before electrical can finish. We were kind of open there for a while to where everybody could kind of work. Now we're getting finalized where they got to get going so they can come in. So we're kind of, Black & Knowles doing a good job coordinating, getting people here, when they're coming, how they're happening. We're still waiting on siding right now. It's kind of what's kind of a wrench right now, but that's just one of those things with contractors. So, but they're moving along pretty well there. I'm working on the fencing for the playground right now. Should be putting a purchase order in for that. So once that comes through, I'll get those people out and get that started. We're just moving along step by step. Y'all know it's been a process, but we're getting there.
There are doors.
There are doors. There are locked doors at the bathroom. So we're able to more secure everything. Both sets of bathrooms, the utility hallway, all those are locked now. So only contractors or town will be able to have that.
And those will be on a schedule once it's over, is that correct?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, just figuring out when that's going to be. Yeah, we'll get those scheduled out. I know it's just the 1st of August, but here this month, I'll be sitting down with Manager Owens, going to start looking at fall decorations pretty soon. I know I mentioned that the other day, and we both just shook our heads. So now with roundabout plantings, you may see the roundabouts may look a little bit different as far as fall decorations and winter decorations go, but I think we still have enough room to where we can do something nice and presentable and still have something in there.
What's the target date for opening Sunnyside, do you think?
We had hoped for mid-September, but it just depends. I mean, if the siding's not on, we can't open it, and it has to be ready, inspected, passing, safe, and we still have one part of the ramp that has to be done to come from that parking area to the
So we're
play
hoping with
area
HMC,
itself.
like someone said, HMC's, their first priority is going to be that parking area, a tie-in from the parking area to the upper access point of the playground is in that part of the project. So I think I think what we all want is when we open, we're open. There's no, well, there's another little phase here. When it's open, it's ready to go. So that's what we're trying to aim for. And it's contractors, they're trying, but it's like, well, we here today. Well, didn't make it today. So a day here or a day there. And then our site superintendent for Black and Alms is doing a really good job. I mean, me and Bill are in constant coordination with him. He's like, he's showing me, hey, here's the emails I've sent, here's the calls I've made. So, they're doing their part to try to get them here to get this work done. They want to push it as far and fast as long as we can, as we want it to.
And where are you in this process of adding staff person?
I've done a round of interviews. And right now, I think we're trying to coordinate with Water and Sewer because they've got some positions open too. So we're kind of looking through all of our applications as one. And I think they've got a round of interviews coming up. We're kind of putting those in a pool and saying, hey, if you're not interested in this, are you interested in this? But we're hoping by the next couple of weeks is where I'm hoping for. That gives me still enough time on mowing season, but we're getting just right into decorations as well.
Great. Any questions? All right.
Thank y'all.
Chris. I have to make a comment about Public Works. Bill, we always break it down into the sexy half and the non-sexy half, right? Because there are some that people get really excited. They see the mowing going on, they see sidewalks, they see streets being paved, and then there's the other side that people don't see, and we don't get calls all the time about it until it doesn't work, right? And they're both equally important, but thank you for running a great department, and I appreciate the staff. Thank you. All right, announcements. We have a special called meeting of the Franklin Town Council here tomorrow at 10 a.m. I understand, Mr. Higdon, you're going to come to the evening session, correct? And then, Vice Mayor, you won't be here in the morning.
I had a work commitment that I didn't find out about till today, and I won't be able to be here tomorrow.
I got a medical appointment.
We don't need a quorum, correct?
They're not gonna make any actions, they're just giving a presentation.
You have 3 and a mayor is the quorum.
Okay. We'll have a quorum then. Joe, can you make it tomorrow evening? 6 p.m., the public session for Joe Nicosa.
And that's at the Turn Hall.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Let's see, I'll do try.
All righty. The next town council meeting is Tuesday, September 8th, due to the Labor Day holiday. The town offices will be closed Monday, September 7th, in observance of Labor Day. Picking on the Square is August 8th, August 22, 6 p.m. at the gazebo. We'll have a special Picking on the Square on September 5th on the gazebo with the fireworks show to follow, fireworks that will be downtown. And then, Mr. Higdon, is F your item?
This is my item.
You speak a little bit about
Saturday,
it.
September 26th, 8 a.m. right here till noon. We'll be doing the fall litter sweep to the town of Franklin, just like we did back in spring. You can follow with that, bring your sticks and your gloves.
Good deal. Thank you for heading that up, Travis. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Hear a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Raise your hand.
Discuss with my legs.
Meeting adjourned.
Shows he was slow, didn't make the motion.